everyone, so I've finally got around to doing a build video. This is one of two builds that I've made myself, sort of based off of some others perhaps. This is my version of the melee arc build. I think it runs really well. There may be better ones out there, but I personally like how this one runs, so it's sort of essentially how I personally run it. Feel free to run it yourself, see how you get on with it, see what you think, leave a comment, let me know how you get on, any sort of weapon changes or anything that you personally make would be nice to know. As you can see in the background, I tend to call it a double strike. Your melee initially, and then you can follow up straight away with a powered melee again. That finishes off a lot of different enemies. I'll explain in the character screen sort of some of the things more in depth, but sort of just giving you a generalised how it runs at the moment. So once in the character screen, I'll go into the actual prismatic build itself. I personally use Silence and Squall. Sometimes I will substitute this for Storm's Edge. It depends on how I'm feeling, what I'm doing, just in general. Gambler's Dodge, so dodging the enemies fully recharges your melee. Since this is a melee build, we want our melee as much as possible. I personally just like triple jump, use whatever you so please. Will be wanting combination blow. Obviously once you then defeat enemies with a powered melee, that gives you back your class ability, which is obviously your dodge, so it's sort of a, you know, you can punch, dodge, that is one way of running it, where you continuously just punch, dodge, do some other things in between, but that's quite powerful in itself. Grapple I've chosen here. Once grappling, obviously pulls you towards a target, you can then melee straight after that. I think it's pretty cool, quite fun to use. As for aspects, Stylish Executioner, so defeating a target affected by any elemental debuff grants invisibility and true sight. So since we also have Winter's Shroud here and we're dodging a lot, since we're slowing enemies down, that essentially is debuff, so every time we defeat those enemies we're obviously activating Stylish Executioner, which is allowing us to go invisible. Fragments, we have got Facet of Protection. While surrounded by combatants, you are more resistant to incoming damage, while Transcendent the effect is increased. Kind of speaks for itself. If you're running in with a load of enemies, you're going to want that sort of to be more resistant, you know, but obviously when you punch them in the face, they're not going to be there for very long, but I like using this one. And then your Arc Solar and Void abilities deal increased damage to targets afflicted with the Darkness debuffs. So again, slow technically is a Darkness debuff, and then we're using the Arc Punch, so we're doing more damage because they're already sort of debuffed with that, with the slow. Increases the size and damage of the burst when you shatter a stasis crystal or frozen target, and increases the area of effect of solar ignitions. So I personally use Sunshot and things like that, so my ignitions will be bigger, but obviously if something is fully frozen from your dodge, that's going to shatter, you know, the shatter's going to be larger, it's going to do more damage. Melee Final Blows start health regen, while Transcendent Melee Final Blows start health regen for you and nearby allies. So pretty self-explanatory. Melee build, you melee in a lot, it will start health regen. We want health. Health is good. Health stops us from dying. So, so yeah. And then picking up an Orb of Power grants either essentially any of those amplified restoration, frost armor, woven mail, or overshield based on the damage of your current equipped super. So 90% of the time that'll be frost armor for me. So you're fortified by layers of durable stasis matter, reducing incoming damage. Frost armor damage resistant grows stronger as you gain additional stacks. So that's essentially better than the amplified, where you just increase your movement speed and weapon handling, but that's after sprinting for a short time. and then rapidly defeating targets with the arc damage makes you amplified. So essentially every time you punch in something that's arc damage, you get an amplified, but really ideally we're wanting the frost armour, hence we tend to stay on silence and squall. What else do we need to go through? Weapons, I suppose. As I say, I like to use sunshot, explosive rounds, so obviously you're beating up stuff with your gun, and then that fragment in there is making those explosive, you know, ignitions essentially. They're bigger. It doesn't specifically say ignitions on here, but I have noticed upon using sunshot and that fragment itself that the explosions are bigger. I tend to pair this with, I say, a shotgun. I technically only have Wastelander M5 with 1-2 punch on, so you'd shoot something with the shotgun and then you'd melee afterwards. That increases your melee. If you shoot something with the shotgun first, all the pellets hit, and then you punch, your melee is still going to do even more damage. But it depends on what content I'm running, depends on what I'm running. So say shotgun most of the time. Otherwise I'll have hung jury on. Nothing specifically as to why, I just like hung jury. You probably could use any kind of guns, to be honest. I would highly recommend sunshot. Sometimes I'll switch to red death, depends on what I'm feeling, but you're kind of probably going to want to have a solar weapon in your secondary slot. As for my heavy, it really does vary. Quick Fang, sometimes battle or blast battue, on other occasions. It depends again what content I'm running and what I fancy using. Stat wise, we're wanting 100 resilience and 100 discipline. Then we're going to want to try and get recovery as close to 100 as possible. Mine is only on 67. You do lose 10 for one of the fragments that you have got equipped. Mod wise, on my helmet, as I say, I've just bumped. I'll kind of ignore these because it's down to what, you know, you've got and things, but I'll just talk about the generalised mods this side. So I've got Dynamo here, reduces super cooldown when you're using your class ability near targets, and hands-on, gain bonus super energy on melee kills. And the arms, use heavy-handed, your powered melee final blows create orbs of power. And we've also got impact induction there, causing damage with your powered melee, it reduces your grenade cooldown. So all good there. This one I tend to use charged up, increases the maximum number of stacks of armor charge you can carry by 1. The resistances you can kind of pick and choose what you so want. It's just down to what content you're running again. Legs, Absolution, reduces all ability cooldowns each time you pick up an orb of power. Considering I make orbs of power every time I beat something with a powered melee, we have a lot of these, so you can get your you know, your abilities back quicker. And then replenishes health each time you pick up an orb of power. As I said, health is good, you know, it stops us from dying, and the more health the better. Collecting an orb of power causes you to gain 1 temporary armor charge. Your solo weapons gain a small bonus to damage while you have any armor charge. Your armor charge now decays over time. So the more armor charges I have, the more damage my sunshot does, which is great. More explosions, more damage, more boom, happy days. Now my exotic piece is the new Hunter Cloak. Specifically I've got time dilation on this, so your decay and armor charge has a longer duration because we want that for as long as possible. For sunshot to be able to, you know, do more damage as and when I'm using it. And then we've got Bomber ×2, reduces grenade cooldown when using your class ability. As for the perks for this, I specifically have gone for Spirit of Caliban, powered melee final blows trigger an ignition. So every time I'm smacking something in the face, not only is it, you know, getting buzzed with arc, after it dies it then explodes, doing more damage to everything else around it. Spirit of the Liar, similar to Liar's Handshake. Dealing damage with a powered melee or being hit by a melee attack will allow you to follow up with an extremely powerful arc melee counterpunch. What I really like about these two together is I'll run in, I'll punch something, which, you know, the initial combination blow, punch, which then activates this straight away. So I don't even need to dodge if I don't want to. and I can just continue to melee, and everything's getting hit with this arc, you know, ability, and they're all exploding again because of this ability here, and it's just pure chaos, and it's great fun to watch and great fun to play. What else have I missed? Hunter's Journal, last thing on here. Everyone will obviously have their own things in here. For this build specifically, we're wanting, where is it? Your ignitions do increase damage in an increased radius, so this affects the Spirit of the Caliban, so it affects the explosion and the punch, and it also affects Sunshot as well, which is awesome. And then what you have woven, so Frost Armour or your... yeah, so what you have woven mail, Frost Armour or Void Overshield, your melee recharges faster and deals increased damage. Since we're most likely going to be running Silence and Squall, we're most likely going to be having Frost Armour, which is then going to lead us for our melee to do even more damage, which is awesome. So that's the rundown of this build, guys. Let me know what you think, or as I say, any weapons that you recommend, that you enjoy using, that you think go great with this, would honestly be awesome. I'm happy to try them out, see how they run. Please do let me know what you think. Leave a like, leave a comment, please subscribe if you haven't done so already. But until the next one, guys, I will see you later.